As a result of the EuroLeague's official confirmation of the arrival of none other than Caitlin Clark, the world of basketball is ablaze, and the Women's National Basketball Association is going completely insane over the news. After breaking numerous records during her first season of professional basketball, Clark is now getting ready to take her skills to Europe by signing one of the most lucrative contracts in the history of women's basketball. This could not have come at a more inopportune moment for the WNBA. The league, which has been heavily dependent on Clark's electrifying performances to drive ratings and attendance, must now figure out how to navigate without her full-time presence in order to be successful. As a result of the news, the WNBA executives were left scrambling to make sense of what this means for the future of the league. Clark, on the other hand, is just getting started with this. European basketball is the next big stage for her, and she is prepared to dominate, grow her brand, and play basketball on an even larger stage than she has previously experienced. In the meantime, the WNBA is left wondering how it will recover from the loss of its most prominent player.
And from the sounds of this interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. The commissioner told her that she could make $700,000 playing in the WNBA.
There is already a lot of buzz surrounding Clark's European contract. This is not only due to the fact that she will be playing in the most prestigious women's league in Europe, but also due to the impressive financial amount. Clark is going to make a significant amount more money with this new deal than she did while she was playing in the WNBA. $700,000 is the amount that is being discussed. That's almost 3 times as much as the top players in the WNBA make together. It's possible that Clark was able to showcase her skills through the WNBA, but it's abundantly clear that Europe is where the real money and the real competition are waiting for her. A growing problem for the WNBA is that they simply are unable to compete financially with what European clubs are willing to pay for top-tier talent. The fact that Clark is able to secure such a massive deal overseas only highlights this problem.
Feel like there could be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games in the Big Three. So the money is there, and if these owners are smart with it, I could definitely see more WNBA players going overseas.
A lack of financial parity between the WNBA and other leagues in other countries is coming back to haunt them. Their golden goose, Caitlin Clark, has been enticed away by a lucrative offer that the WNBA simply could not match. Nevertheless, this is not merely a financial problem. Rather, it is a demonstration of the WNBA's more widespread difficulties in retaining its best players. Over the course of the past few years, the league has committed a number of errors, both in terms of management and marketing, and they are now paying the price for those errors. Clark's move to Europe is unquestionably the most advantageous choice for her career, despite the fact that fans in the United States may experience a mixture of emotions regarding the move. She is going to be up against more difficult competition, participating in more games, and establishing her legacy on the international stage. Meanwhile, the WNBA is left to figure out how to fill the enormous void that she leaves behind.
If you look at his rookie salary, which was around $55 million for 4 years, and then you look at Caitlin Clark's $300 and I think it was $38,000 salary that she signed for 4 years, that is about the same amount more. It's around 162 times more that Victor made than Caitlin. So if you do them...
It is not just any old league that Caitlin Clark is moving to. She is joining EuroLeague Women, which is the highest level of women's basketball in Europe currently available. The history of this league dates back to 1958, and it has been responsible for producing some of the most accomplished female players in the history of the sport. Although it may not receive the same level of media attention as the WNBA in the United States, there is no denying that this is the place where serious basketball is played. According to Clark, this is the ideal situation for him. She will have the opportunity to test her skills against the best players from around the world if she plays in Europe, which is something that the WNBA's short summer season would not be able to provide for her. It's not just a move for more money, it's a move for more competition, more exposure, and ultimately, more growth as a player. This move is important for all of these reasons.
game in Europe is almost better than the game in the NBA.
Players like Caitlin Clark have the opportunity to compete throughout the entire year in the EuroLeague Women, in contrast to the WNBA, which has a summer season that is relatively brief but intense. Given that Clark is a player who is extremely driven, this longer season provides the opportunity for more consistent competition, which is the ideal setup for him. She is not looking for a quick paycheck or a temporary commitment. Rather, she is looking to dominate in every league that she plays in, and Europe is the next step on her path to becoming a great player. Clark will also have the opportunity to become a global basketball icon if he plays in Europe. EuroLeague will provide her with the opportunity to broaden her brand and connect with new audiences, despite the fact that she is already a well-known figure in the United States. The kind of move that elevates a player from star to superstar is the kind that this player makes. Players from all over the world are competing against one another on one of the most prestigious stages in the sport of basketball, which makes the competition in Europe extremely fierce. Caitlin Clark will be competing against some of the most talented players that Europe has to offer, so this is no longer just about the talent that comes from the United States. The EuroLeague is a league that is truly international because it brings together the best teams from countries such as Russia, Turkey, Spain, and France. For a person like Clark, who thrives on competition, this is the ultimate challenge that they could possibly face. In spite of the fact that the WNBA receives a lot of attention and publicity, the EuroLeague Women is where the real basketball action takes place. It is in this situation that Clark will be required to take her game to an even higher level. And if there is anyone who is capable of rising to the occasion, it is Caitlin Clark. The arrival of Caitlin Clark in Europe heralds a significant turning point for the sport of women's basketball, one that is likely to have long-term repercussions not only for her professional career, but also for the sport more generally. Clark sees this as more than just an opportunity to exhibit her skills on a global stage. Rather, it is an opportunity for her to seize control of her future, to test the limits of her capabilities, and to firmly establish herself as one of the most influential players in the history of basketball. It's possible that the WNBA is struggling to figure out what to do without her, but Caitlin is intent on expanding both as an athlete and as a global brand. Although the WNBA is dealing with the aftermath of losing one of its most prominent stars, Clark's decision to move overseas demonstrates that she is not afraid to take risks in order to advance her career. She is establishing a benchmark for players who may one day become stars in the league, players who may now consider Europe to be a valid option for establishing their legacy. To put it simply, Caitlin Clark is a pioneer in every sense of the adjective. She is demonstrating to other players that the world of women's basketball is much larger than the WNBA by deciding to expand her career in Europe. Despite the fact that the league has been the primary destination for female athletes in the United States for a considerable amount of time, it is now evident that Europe provides opportunities that are capable of competing with and even surpassing what the WNBA has to offer. As a result of Clark's move, the advantages of playing overseas are being brought to light. These advantages include higher pay, longer seasons, and more intense competition. This decision is not just about Caitlin Clark. Rather, it is about the path that women's basketball will take in the years to come. A number of other top players will be keeping a close eye on Clark, and if he is successful in the EuroLeague, it may pave the way for even more stars to make the transition to playing in a league outside of their home country. The reality is that Caitlin Clark's choice to play basketball in Europe has the potential to be a driving force behind significant shifts in the way that women's basketball is played. It has always been the case that the WNBA is the league of choice for top-tier talent. However, if Europe begins to attract more of the sport's most prominent names, the power dynamic may shift. The shift is centered on Clark, who is at its center. Her influence cannot be denied, and now that she is taking on a new challenge overseas, she is demonstrating that women's basketball is more than just a single league or a single nation. Because of her global presence, she is definitely going to attract even more fans, which will result in a larger audience for women's basketball that spans multiple continents. Not only is she trying to expand her personal brand, but she is also trying to draw attention to the sport as a whole and demonstrate that women's basketball is deserving of the same level of respect and recognition as any other professional league. Caitlin is about to embark on the next phase of her professional career, and there is no doubt that the EuroLeague will provide her with the ideal platform to further develop her game and enhance her legacy. It is expected that Clark will be pushed to achieve new heights as an athlete as a result of the intense level of competition that exists in Europe. This is a pivotal moment for women's basketball, and Clark's move marks the beginning of something much more significant from this point forward. Establishing new opportunities, removing obstacles, and demonstrating that the sport can flourish in more than one arena are all important aspects of this endeavor. It's possible that Europe will benefit from the WNBA's loss, but in the end, it's women's basketball that emerges victorious. In light of the fact that Clark's move to Europe brings to light the unrealized potential and opportunities that are available beyond the boundaries of the WNBA, this move is a victory for the sport on a global scale. Clark's choice is not only about her own professional prospects, rather, it is about leaving a legacy that will serve as a source of motivation for the next generation of female athletes. What she is doing is demonstrating to young players that they do not have to be constrained by the conventional routes that have been laid out for them. The possibilities are endless if you are willing to pursue them, and there is a whole world of opportunities waiting for you to take advantage of them. She is paving the way for others to follow in her footsteps by demonstrating that it is possible to be both a pioneer and a global superstar. Caitlin Clark is demonstrating that this is possible. This decision will be regarded as a watershed moment in the years to come, not only for Clark's professional basketball career, but also for the sport of women's basketball as a whole. The WNBA may be having a difficult time adjusting to her departure, but the sport as a whole is on the verge of something extraordinary, and it is all because of Caitlin Clark.